Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa. I'm Clarisse Fortuné, and here are the top stories from across the continent. The peace process is stalling in the DR Congo. M23 rebels and the Congolese government are both accusing each other of breaking a ceasefire, and threats are mounting. Cape Verde's once turquoise coasts have now turned red. As warming waters fuel an invasion of seaweed, local women are fighting back, turning a marine threat into an opportunity. And from the heart of Paris comes an art fair like no other, ACA, the acronym for also known as Africa. The event, which celebrates its 10th year anniversary, unites galleries and visionary artists from across Africa and its diaspora. And Terence Maluleke made the trip from South Africa to share art with us. But let's start with the latest in the Democratic Republic of Congo. M23 rebels and Congolese government are both accusing each other of breaking a ceasefire, and threats are mounting. Meanwhile, the peace process is stalling. Here's Emmett Livingston in Kinshasa.
Clashes are continuing in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, despite a peace process in which both sides have committed to downing arms. In the provinces of North Kivu and South Kivu, the Congolese army and pro-government militias have been battling M23 rebels who are supported by Rwanda. This week, in an area of South Kivu occupied by the rebels, a gold mine was hit in a drone strike, for example. It's not clear who is responsible. On Thursday, the M23 held a press conference in which it accused the Congolese government of repeatedly breaking a ceasefire. Ominously, the rebels said that they would henceforth respond to each attack with one of their own. The Congolese government responded by saying that there are mechanisms within the ongoing peace process to monitor violations. But government spokesman Patrick Muyaya told reporters that the accusations were what he termed rambling, designed to distract. He added that everyone knows who's breaking the ceasefire and who's doing the killing in Goma and Bukavu, two cities occupied by the rebels. Rhetoric between the two sides is becoming sharper, and although both say that they are committed to peace talks taking place in Qatar, there's been little substantive progress.
All is set for Ivory Coast's presidential election this Saturday. Hours before polls open, electoral materials are already in place across most of the country. From Abidjan, here's our West Africa correspondent, Justice Baidu.
The deployment of election materials are done for the most part of the country hours before polls open. 8.7 million people whose names are on the electoral roll are expected to turn up at the 25,000 polling stations across the country to cast their ballot as they open at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. 44,000 police and military men have been deployed across the country to protect the ballot. This is 9,000 more than the number that was used for the last presidential election 5 years ago. All protests are now banned for the next 2 months, and hotspots like Yamoussoukro, the capital, are now under a dawn to dusk curfew after an earlier incident in this month when a polling station was set on fire.
Small island states are some of the worst impacted by climate change. Cape Verde is one of them. For years, warming waters have been causing the proliferation of certain seaweed on the coast, leading to illness in local populations. So locals are doing what they can to stem the flow of the ocean algae and even to turn it into an opportunity. Our team in Dakar reports.
In recent years, Cape Verde's once turquoise coasts have turned red, as warming waters mean seaweed is now spreading. Faced with this coastal invasion, local women have decided to take action.
We collect the seaweed directly from the water and dry it on the beach. It is also important for the fish because when there's too much seaweed, it kills them.
When harvested, the seaweed is separated from trash and then transported to the village for treatment. to avoid the arsenic-laden plant from accumulating and spoiling the country's beaches.
When the seaweed piles up on the beach, we can smell the gases all the way to our homes. It bothers us. So we come here regularly to clean the beach and stop that from happening.
Back in their village of Moya Moya, the group of women complete the final steps in the treatment process.
First, we wash it with clean water to remove the salt.
Supported by the UK's University of York, they are developing a recipe for natural fertiliser from the collected seaweed. The chemical is now being tested on crops within the community.
It's a benefit for the Moya Moya community, which is developing this skill, but in the future it could benefit all of Cape Verde. It could be very useful for farmers aiming for more ecological agriculture.
After this current phase of analysis and testing, the women of Moya Moya hope to soon expand their production and make their beaches beautiful again.
Now let's switch gear. We're in Paris, where the old world's focus turns to Africa for 3 days at ACA, the acronym for also known as Africa. Founded in 2016, this fair has become the gathering for galleries and artists from the continent and its diaspora. This year's edition features everything from cutting-edge painting and sculpture to design and immersive experiences, all rooted in African creativity. And one of those artists is here with us, Teresako Maluleke. First, tell us, how is it going so far at ACA?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for the invite. ACA is good. ACA is exciting. My first showing with them, and I'm excited. Yeah.
So tell us about yourself. Tell us about your work. What drives your creative expression?
I started off in the animation background, so I've always been a big fan of cartoons. I love storytelling. My grandfather was a storyteller, so I've always been inspired by his work. My mom used to collect his work and hang it around the house. And from the young age, I've always seen art as a powerful tool, yes, and as a way of expressing yourself and telling your story to the world.
So ACA, as I said, celebrates its 10th anniversary. So how did it all begin? Let's first listen to Victoria Mann. She's the founder of the event.
The best proof of success is that 10 years ago when we started, we were met with a lot of curiosity, a lot of hope, but a lot of doubt as well. Contemporary African art was not established in Paris. And today, 10 years later, there's not one institution, there's not one major fair, there's not one auction house, there's not one major gallery that doesn't have contemporary African art.
Do you feel there are enough platforms in South Africa or even across the continent for artists like yourself?
There could always be more. I think with one of the, ACA being one of the people to showcase a lot of African art around the world, there's a conversation that has to be had about showcasing them in much more bigger events, museums, and showcasing this in a broader sense. And there's I've always felt growing up that there's a lack, or I never saw enough of myself in the space. But that's slowly changing, and it's exciting to see. And we are also one of the artists that will open the doors for the next generation to come in and have a bigger impact in the world. Yeah.
Let's listen now to Sigor Senghor. He's the ACA's artistic director.
We still need fairs like ours because the big fairs don't make enough room for African artists.
And there are more than 40 galleries participating at this African art fair. And you are represented by BKHZ, one of the very few African galleries. Why is that? Few African, based in Africa. Why so few?
It's a good question. I mean,
is it
South
difficult
Africa,
to export? Is it difficult? Is it a question of means, or why so few and so many or you would maybe a lack? Is it a lack of interest, or is just a lack of means to travel?
It's an amalgamation of a lot of things. It's probably a lack of sponsorship, a lack of Patreons who are targeting and very much focusing on African art and Black artists. Patrons that expand beyond just the artists, but also patrons of the gallery system that are supporting of the galleries and have a strong initiative to actually uplift the growth of artists, particularly Black artists and Black women artists as well. And I think with a much stronger push from the institutions and the government, it has a potential to be a much more widely accepted concept to have us in the room.
So back to your work. So you mentioned it a little bit earlier. So your work moves between animation for major studios and fine art. So how do these two worlds feed into each other?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I've always been a storyteller. And my introduction to cartoon was the first of a big platform showing this storytelling skill. And I fell in love with it from a young age. And I've always wanted to see myself portrayed in these stories. And so from there, my mission was, I'm going to tell my own story in these cartoons so that the next generation of young kids can also see themselves. And it has a very big impact. The moment you see yourself, you are enabled to do it. It's almost like a permission. You get the permission and you feel much more comfortable because you've seen somebody like you do it. And I've became that person for the next person. And it's beautiful.
Also, what the center of your work is also the everyday life in a township.
Yeah. I speak about my community a lot. I grew up around them. I know them the best. I want to tell stories of us faithfully and stories that we understand. It doesn't have to be always translated to the world. I think the world will relate to a real story. Everyone has experiences life in similar ways. So if I'm authentic to my story, the world will understand it because they are also experiencing this life. We all go through similar challenges. We all go through heartbreak. We all go through the journey of looking for success, the journey of looking for ourselves, our purpose. So my work speaks about the search of purpose as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Terence Stakho Maluleke, for taking the time. So we'll leave you with some images of Aka, also known as Africa, to get a sense of African cutting-edge painting and sculptures experience. To conclude today's edition of Eye on Africa, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
The desert sands have kept their secrets since the beginning of time. The era of Egyptian pharaohs rises again opposite the Giza pyramids. On November 1st, witness the opening of the awe-inspiring stone and glass Grand Egyptian Museum. The world's largest archaeological museum finally reveals its precious treasures. Journey 7,000 years through history on all France 24 outlets.